Hello, friends. First of all, I would like to thank all of you who liked my previous videos. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your messages. If you feel like you want to ask me a question, go ahead. Write me anywhere. All the contact, all the contacts are in the description to this video. For those of you who don't know me, I have this channel because I also have a public channel on my Facebook profile where I do videos in the Czech language. And I decided to share my personal experience that I have with what I called entry point philosophy. Links to entry point philosophy you can find again in the description to this video. And through this philosophy that I live by since 2017, I discovered Waterfast, which, again, thanks to this philosophy, I turned it into something that I called Entrypoint Waterfast. And Entrypoint Waterfast is how you can take standard water fasting and turn it into what I called an evolutionary tool that's inside of every one of us, and that can significantly help you to improve your life. Now, how it can improve your life? You can find it all in the videos that I linked again in the description to this stream. But just to give you a taste of it, during these 7 water fasts since 2019, I discovered something that kills cancer cells. So you can find it again, this video in the description of the stream. I also found a way how you can use water fasting for getting rid of diabetes. Again, the videos for this can be found on my channel. And I also use entry point water fast as a meditation technique that I described again in the previous videos. And this can significantly also improve your everyday professional life. And I think that is extremely useful, especially in these days where of these days of uncertainty, where no one knows what's going to be in 1 week, 1 month, and 3 months. So that's why I started this channel to share this information, and that's why I'm grateful for any one of you who give me a like, who share this information, who contact me, because it only shows to me what I feel, and that is that this whole planet, it doesn't matter if you are a man or a woman, it doesn't matter if you're young or old, it doesn't matter what kind of religious system you believe in, it doesn't matter, right tying to the religion, it doesn't matter how you view the reality, it doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is, it doesn't matter where you were born, because all of us are humans on this planet. And the more we cooperate, the more we can achieve. You know, it. I always, I'm always extremely happy. It brings me joy, but in the same time, it gives me hurt when when I read about the space telescope, the space telescope, because when you see how complicated it is, when you see how many people from various nations, regardless of their sex and country of birth, and regardless anything, just what we care about is, do you have a brain and the willingness and energy for the next 20 years to work on something from all of our taxes? And these 10,000 people from all over the world, they said, you know what, right now we don't know how, but we will do it. And 20 years later, they send this amazing, amazing piece of technology that 10,000 people had to cooperate on it all over the world, regardless where they were from, what religious beliefs they had. And they achieved, from my point of view, of a guy named George with red glasses in the Czech Republic. I'm just like, to me, it's like wow, that's a miracle. And then I look what's happening between Russia and Ukraine, regardless how and why, and I feel like we are just bunch of apes. And it becomes so obvious that if all the war energy and war money that's spent on whatever they're trying to achieve and whoever is trying to achieve and why they are trying to achieve, if they cooperated without any side thoughts, just like the people at NASA and the European Space Agency and and I think the Canadian Space Agency, if I'm correct, then it just showed that human cooperation, selfish-less human cooperation, can achieve miracles. And I think that if they put their heads together, they already could have had, you know, so many fusion reactors. They could have all free energy, or anything. But instead of that, they chose what they chose. And because I believe in human cooperation, I have this YouTube channel when I try to share with you my life experience with Waterfast and with Entrypoint philosophy, because I think that it can improve everyone's life. And that's why I'm grateful for your support, for your likes and your shares. And today I want to share with you as much as I can about an experiment that I am doing right after I finished a 60-day water fast a week ago. Now, right now, the experiment is based on a hypothesis that I have. And if this experiment turns out the way I I I will experience how it turns out, then if it's the way that it supports the hypothesis, then wow, because the hypothesis is pretty wild. Now, I don't want to exactly say what the hypothesis is, because if the experiment shows that this hypothesis was my a stupid idea, then I don't want to make a fool out of myself. But if the experiment turns out in a way that it will support the hypothesis, then believe you me that I will publish it. And but I still can tell you a lot about the experiment without actually telling you the insights of the experiment. So when I say an experiment, it's I'll tell you what type of an experiment. So I think it was about, yeah, it was before the third water fast. Yeah, between the second and the third water fast, I thought I had a hypothesis, which was that the reason water fast is hard in the beginning is not that because we are hungry, but because the body is addicted to sugar, to carbohydrates. And that's why in the beginning it's hard, because it's like if someone is addicted to a drug, if someone is addicted to alcohol, and then you tell them you have to, or if there's someone addicted to smoking cigarettes, and then you tell them you have to stop for a week, it will be very, very hard for them to do it. And that's exactly what's happening with water fast. That the first 7 days before the body switches its metabolism into ketogenesis, meaning that it starts getting its energy from its fat reserves. Up till then, it's really hard. So I had a hypothesis that if let's say 2 weeks before starting the water fast, if I eat what's called keto diet, which is basically a diet where you eat no carbohydrates, that for the first week eating the keto diet, which is extremely tasteful because it's a lot of fat, a lot of meat, a lot of green vegetables, that if I do it for a week, I would teach the body, or I would make the body to switch into ketogenesis. The second week, I would really teach the body to like lock into it, and then I would start the water fast. And the beginning part of the water fast should be it should be extremely easy. And that's exactly what happened. So as I was, so this is, that was that kind of an experiment. So it sounds strange, but in the same time, it could be real, and it was real. And during the third water fast, I thought of another experiment. And the way I approach fasting and feeding, I approach it in a way that I don't look at it from a point of view because of today, because that's exactly where entry point philosophy is coming in. Because entry point philosophy states that the way I perceive the world goes through various filters, cognitive biases that I have coded in my head through the processes of evolution. So regardless what how I feel when I am born, I have respect to authorities, because those babies who listen to their parents and didn't jump off the cliff or into the fire, those survived, and the ones who didn't respect for the parents, they would die and their gene would not pass on. So there are all these survival things that we have coded in our heads, and it basically makes us to view the reality in a way that's not real. It's like just like the glasses that I have. So entry point philosophy says, you know, do you view are you viewing the reality through a filter, or or if you cannot and if you are, and you cannot take the filter off, at least be aware of it. It's like when I on my phone, I put a filter on I make a photo on my cell phone, I put a filter on, and I change the colors and contrast. But I always have to remember that I'm looking through the glasses with red lenses, and that the way I see it, that's not how it looks in real life. So always I have to check the picture, or not always, but I sometimes check the picture without the glasses to see how it looks like when I'm not looking through the filters. So when you look through these eyes at the reality, I look during the third water fast how we feed, right? And the way I looked at it was that it's not from a point of view of today, but I looked at it from a point of view of Homo sapiens being here for the past 250,000 years, and carbohydrates has been only for the past 10,000 years, ever since we discovered farming. Up till then, there were no carbohydrates in our diet. So we ate keto diet. Therefore, our human DNA is made for a fuel that doesn't have carbohydrates. And because I thought of this, then I realized that, hey, if for 50 days I am drinking water only, then that's exactly what must have happened in the past if for 50 days I was not able to hunt down any animal. So, and that must have happened many, many times. As I was looking at a book called Sapiens, and in this book, it states that the number one cause of death during the human history and even before that was hunger, that we would die because we would have no food. So obviously, through evolution, just like the little kids believing the authorities, their parents. So in the same time, the gene that was able to cope with with hunger, to be able without having food for 50 days, to still work, to find a way to get energy from its fat reserves, and will be still able to hound down a mammoth 50 days later. Now, obviously, that's exactly how evolution must have shaped the human DNA. Then, if after 50 days I finally killed the animal, I would not be able to eat it, and I would have to wait for 2 weeks and do some slow eating ritual to return to the normal diet? No. So during the third water fast, my hypothesis was, if I if it's correct what I am thinking and obviously seeing through all the resources available to me through the internet, then when I finish water fast after, let's say, 51 days of drinking water only, that if from the beginning I eat low carbohydrate food, then I can eat anything I want. And guess what? And I did a live stream also with it on my Facebook profile. The first day I ate, I think I ate a lot of chicken, a lot of green vegetables. Second day I already ate pork belly. It was great, and I had no digestive issues. So this again was an experiment that proved a very, very interesting hypothesis. Because all of a sudden you realize that if all of you and the whole world would be aware how harmful carbohydrates are for the metabolic system, that carbohydrates are great if it's just, that you have them every now and then, but not that you have bread, carbohydrates for breakfast, that you have carbohydrates for snack, that you have carbohydrates for lunch, for afternoon snack, for dinner, that you 6 times a day, like taking a drug 6 times a day, you overdose on carbohydrates, and of course this is killing the system. It's giving glucose to potential cancer cells. B, it the body has to produce a lot of insulin, and either the pancreas says, hey, I cannot make insulin anymore, and you start pumping it with another insulin with needles, which is again in the long term killing the body. Or the cell says, I cannot take insulin anymore because I don't want glucoses, and we start taking pills to convince the cell to keep eating glucoses, which in return can turn the cell into a cancer cell. So I feel that all of these are very, like, this is a very good experiment. It's not just simple experiment if I can grow a plant, but these are very interesting experiments that prove information that I want to share with everyone. And I feel ashamed that that I live between 7 billion people, and it took 42 years for me to find Waterfast and to find entry point philosophy, how to cope with reality in a way that you live a happy life. So this type of hypothesis and experiment I am running right now. And as I'm running the experiment, which should prove or not prove the hypothesis, then as I'm running the experiment, I do little checks, little checkpoint checks. Right? It's like if you have a patient for let's say 2 weeks, and the 2 weeks, that's how long the experiment is. So the checkpoints would be that you take temperature every day or every other day. So for me, I did one checkpoint today, and I will tell you what the checkpoint is without telling you the insights of the experiment. And also, I will have another checkpoint tomorrow, and if both of these checkpoints turn out the way I the in turn out in a way that the experiment would convince me that the hypothesis could be real, then I will publish everything. But today I can tell you what one of the two checkpoints is, and every day after the I think since the fifth water fast, I purchased a special special scale that's connected to my cell phone, so I keep track during, prior and during and after the water fast, I keep track of my weight and various indicators that the weight shows. And after every water fast so far, I would, let's say, finish at let's say the previous water fast, I finished at 66 kilos. And 8, 9, 10 days later, I had 10 extra kilos. And that sounds like a lot, but you have to realize that your intestines are about 12 meters. So just by you eating, like you filling up the intestines, you already gain weight. And even when I checked the water fast before that, the weight after fast, I could always see that it went up, quite fast. It would always go up really fast to let's say 80, and then it would level off. And so today I went on the scale because a week ago when I stopped the fast, my weight was 78 kilos. 78. No, 68. 68. Wow. Yeah. I had 68 kilos. And today, 8 days later, my weight is 69. So I gained only 1 kilo. And I, every day, I ate 3 times a day, huge breakfast, huge lunch, huge dinner. But I changed something in my life that's part of the experiment. And I'm really surprised that when I changed this one thing in my life, that after 60 days and 8 days of eating 3 times a day, a lot of food, in fact, almost overeating, and changing this one thing in my life, 8 days later, I gained only, and I don't think it's even a kilo because it's, let's say 68 something, say 68.5. And today I had 69.1. So I was amazed that without any movement, the weight just didn't basically move. So the second checkpoint is tomorrow, and I can even tell you what the checkpoint will be. And the checkpoint is that tomorrow, after 1 year of not doing any physical activities at all, I will go for a run. And I will run a path that prior of doing fast in 2019, it was a path that I ran every day without skipping a single day for 365 days in a row. And this path, which is 7 kilometers and 250 meters, I will run, and I'm really curious what my time will be. And I can even tell you that if the time, I would not be surprised if it takes me over an hour, because on the because when I did it the first time, I ran half an hour one way and 36 minutes back. So it took me 1 hour and 6 minutes the first time in my life when I ran this path. So if I do it, if I even finish it, because I'm afraid that on the way back, I might, because I don't know how if I am in shape or not. So so I can imagine that maybe on the way back I will stop running and I will have to walk. So in that case, it can take me an hour and a half, or maybe with a slow jog, I can do it in 1 hour and 6 minutes. Maybe it can take me 50 minutes, and anything below 50 minutes would prove to me my hypothesis. So tomorrow, I don't know right now at what time, maybe in the morning, I will go for that run. Maybe I will publish. Maybe I will publish a link of the run. You can watch me live. But if I run it, it will. If it. So I think that if it's below 50 minutes, it will prove to me that the hypothesis is publishable. And if I run it over 50 minutes, then I think that I might be wrong in my expectation. So we will see tomorrow. That's what I wanted to tell you. Again, thanks a lot for your support. Thanks a lot for sharing this information. And good luck in your life. And hopefully see you soon tomorrow with a smile on my face, because I ran it under 50 minutes. Ahoy.